It's like a shock for your body, and it's like a full body workout.
It is, and that's kind of the way that I set it up as well. We warm up. Next thing I'll do is hook my ankles, and I'm going to move to chaturanga with my arms as the legs come out to the side. So it's a lot.
I'm here today with Michael Decorte, who teaches an intense style of yoga called Jock Yoga. And what it is, it's a hardcore type of vinyasa ashtanga style yoga. So if you can talk a little bit about it.
Sure. So Jock Yoga, sometimes I say it's power yoga on steroids. It's really intense, my own intense creation of power yoga. And so it actually kind of started as a little bit of a gimmick because I pitched a gym to have a male yoga teacher because there were a lot of men at this gym, and they didn't have a male yoga teacher. I thought maybe if I pitched them the idea of having me as a teacher, we could draw more men into the yoga classes. And so we decided to call it Jock Yoga. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a name at first. But then when I realized when I started teaching it is that and my truth is that I don't do lotus, I don't do splits, I don't do my leg behind my head, I don't do things that most guys, most inflexible people
they can't do that yet.
Right. And so when I did, when I used to go to yoga classes, when I first started going to yoga, I was an athlete at this point, and I was strong enough to do all of the arm balances.
With the upper body.
Yeah, all of the strengthening poses, all of the strong stuff, all of the fast vinyasa, but I didn't have the flexibility to go to the advanced classes. So I was stuck going to level 1 classes, and then I became really bored. And then I felt like after I did a level 1 class that I would still have to run 10 kilometers and lift weights.
So you wanted a challenge.
Yeah, I wanted a challenge. And so when I started teaching, I was like, you know what, I'm going to teach my truth. Plus, I spent a little bit of time in LA with one of my mentor yoga teachers, Vinny Marino, and he teaches one of the most popular vinyasa flow classes in LA. And what I realized is that even though it was listed as a level 2-3, the reason why it was so intense wasn't because you had to be super flexible or be able to walk on your hands or anything. It was that he held poses for a really long time and made you move fast and made you repeat things over and over and over again.
So it's like a cardio.
Well, it was just, yeah, it was.
You built the sweat.
You really built the sweat, yeah, for sure. And so it was intense based on strength and endurance rather than on extreme flexibility, right? Mm-hmm. And so I thought about that. I thought about my own practice. I decided I would add some contemporary music to it to make it more enjoyable, and so that was the evolution. And then we started focusing on vinyasa, strength and endurance, standing postures, and then a lot of arm balancing. But it still ends up being a balanced yoga class because we do stretch out the muscles after we use them.
Right, and you use your legs a lot as well.
Yes.
Because I noticed when I took some of his classes, there's a lot of upper body work, which really develops and tones your shoulders, but also your legs and thighs.
Lots of warrior too.
A lot of the warrior poses, yeah.
For a long time.
Yes. So
to the point where you want to saw your leg off.
Yes, so those quads really burn at some point.
Yeah.
And you do feel it the next day, but you feel it in a good way. So the muscle soreness is great. It means you're really working those muscles. So there are a lot of benefits to Jock Yoga as it's such an intense practice. So
I agree. I agree it has a lot to do with physical benefits, but I think there's also mental and spiritual benefits as well. First of all, with physical benefits,
you can lose weight.
You can definitely lose weight.
You're sweating a lot.
You're sweating a lot, so you're gonna and your heart rate is up.
You're burning fat.
You're burning fat because it is a moderate heart rate. It's not going to be a cardiovascular training heart rate because we're not running on the spot or anything like that. We are moving quickly though, we're breathing through our nose, so we do get the heart rate up fast enough to burn some fat in the body. But also, it's isometric contractions of the muscles, right? So leading to the long, lean, and toned look of the muscles, but also increasing muscle tone and lean muscle mass in the body, which then in turn creates a faster metabolic rate, a resting metabolic rate. So you burn more fat at rest than you would if you don't have toned muscle mass, right? So there's that aspect of it, and but there's also the aspect of pushing through challenges on your mat. And so I think if you push through challenges on your mat, when you are facing a challenge in your everyday life, and you think back to the challenge that you faced on your mat and how you made it through,
you can overcome.
That's right. You can overcome and push through the challenge that you have in your everyday life. It makes living easier and more enjoyable, right? Plus you look better too.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Which is really important.
Yeah, it is. Because I really noticed the toning effect after. I mean, I was in some muscle pain, but it was good muscle pain, so it really...
No, that's good feedback. We don't want bad muscle pain.
Yes, and I noticed how my body was more toned, more defined, especially the upper body, the abs, and the legs.
So everything.
Everything, the full body.
Well, the idea is, the routine that I like to go through, we use yoga poses mixed with some regular, you are your own gym, like body weight exercises, to go through a full yoga practice, but also to work on every level of the body. So we start with our sun salutations, which are modified versions of
the
regular A, B sun salutations with a little bit more added to them. And that's a lot for the upper body, but then I follow that with more upper body exercises, chaturanga push-ups, holding your arms in an isometric contraction for a very long time. And then we take a rest from the upper body by working on the core pretty intensely as well, not just a little core workout. We really want to feel it the next day. And then after that's exhausted, we move on to the standing postures and hold those for a while. Take care of the legs. The warrior sequence, yeah, it's can be a little bit brutal. I get a lot of eyes looking at me and people killing me with their eyes during the class.
But it's a nice challenge.
Yeah, I guess so. It's intense when people are going through it, but they all seem to love it afterwards.
You feel amazing after.
During, maybe not so much, but...
Yeah, you notice a lot of positive effects after.
I think so. It's a reflection of my own life and my own challenges as well. That has a lot to do with what we do and why we do it in these classes.
So how did you start yoga? How did you get into it?
Okay, well, I have a little bit of a history with drug abuse and alcohol abuse, and also being overweight. I was about 90 pounds heavier than I am.
It's hard to imagine you overweight right now.
I was very overweight. I grew up very unhealthy, which is really strange because I used a lot of drugs, and you think most people that are drug addicts are really skinny and unhealthy. I was unhealthy, but I wasn't. For some reason, I was not skinny. When I started a battle between my addictions and recovery, I also started flirting around with fitness. And one day I was at my dad's house. I had finished a pot of coffee and a bunch of cigarettes, and I decided I'm going to go for a run. So I was at this point I was just over 200 pounds. I had lost some of my weight at this point. I'm going to go for a run. And I just put on some shoes and the only shorts and t-shirt that I had at that point. And I went for a 5-mile run. And because I ran so far, so intensely the first time, I actually, even though I was really sore the next day, I actually felt smaller, leaner, and better about myself.
You noticed a difference.
I noticed a difference the next day, and then I was hooked. So I decided I'm going to keep doing this. So I started working out regularly. Eventually gave up the cigarettes and even coffee over the past few years. I like my tea still.
So you can't really run and be a smoker, because then you'd be out of breath quick.
That was really, yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But something happened when I was doing the exercise on a regular basis. In my mind, I was like, you know what, maybe I won't just lose weight. Maybe I can actually be somebody that's fit. I have never had a fit body. And so I started researching working out and
to build muscle.
Yeah, and then once I finally got sober in 2001, so just over 10 years ago, I got sober and I started working out on a regular basis. I got certified as a personal trainer. I got in really good shape. I dropped down from a 42 waist to a 30 waist.
Wow.
So that's a foot.
Wow.
And then I also fell in love with yoga at that point. I started with hot yoga. A friend of mine took me to a hot yoga class, and
it's very detoxifying.
It's detoxifying, but it's also very intense. And by this point, I was an athlete because not only did I lose weight and was inspired to get in shape. Like I said, I became a personal trainer, and I also started running marathons. I qualified for the Boston, which is great, and I was bodybuilding at this point as well. And then when I found yoga, I loved hot yoga because it was really intense, and I found that it was spiritual as well. And for me, spirituality is what was needed in order to overcome the problems that I was facing. And so when I found something that was physical and spiritual, I was naturally hooked on it. I switched addictions, but after a while, a set series of Bikram postures got boring for me. And then so I moved on to Ashtanga, but it was a little bit, like I said, the level ones weren't really intense enough for me after a while. But the level 2s and 3s, I was too scared of because of my lack of flexibility. That's how I got into yoga, and then it developed after that.
So what is your fitness routine? Like, how do you keep fit?
My own fitness routine.
Yes. Do you practice a lot of yoga and cardio? Or?
Well, I do.
How do you keep fit and in shape?
Well, my class is really hard. A lot of people, after the media got a hold of what I was doing, Jock Yoga, they really positioned it as an intense workout. And so a lot of people...
That's how I see it.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people started because they wanted to try something new. They wanted to try an intense workout. People started coming to my classes after what they saw in the news and stuff. And they were coming to get their butts kicked, so to speak, and so
they had an expectation.
They did, and then so I gave them what they wanted, and I started even upping it and making it more of a workout. So now
harder and harder.
Yeah, I mean, and I do circuit training, high intensity interval training as well, and
that's
as part
a separate class too.
Well, no, I'm saying that I do it for my own fitness.
Okay.
And what I've decided is because we are incorporating yoga and moves that are not necessarily yoga, I've started bringing some of that circuit training and high intensity interval training into my Jock Yoga classes as well. So for myself, I train with a trainer friend of mine, Lisa North. I'm just going to give her a plug. She's very cool. She takes me through a lot of the interval training and the circuit training. So I do some of that. I also still run, usually on average about 10 kilometers a day. And I do a yoga practice about 4 days a week, maybe 5 days a week. And my yoga practice maybe once a week I'll actually do a Jock Yoga practice, because I am doing all of the other things combined as well. The rest of the times that I practice, I'm usually following the Ashtanga primary series, but I avoid anything that affects my knees. Like, I never practice pigeon or lotus or splits or anything like that. So
Yeah, I noticed that.
yeah. Well, I just don't think it's accessible for most people, most athletic people and most men. And I don't want to teach anything that's going to cause shame or make anybody feel like they're not good at yoga and that they don't want to come back. Because everybody is good at practicing yoga if they're just doing what they're capable of. And yeah, and I mean, a lot of guys, when they come in and do these classes and they're doing the arm balance and they succeed at it, then they leave feeling that they have a sense of accomplishment, right?
That's good.
Yeah, that's what I want, so.
And what are your goals with Jock Yoga?
With Jock Yoga, world domination.
You want to spread the word all over.
I do. The thing is that because it's a workout, it's but also with yoga combined, I think instead of traditional yogic philosophy, the spirituality in it is more of beginning the dialogue with yourself about being honest with yourself, what you're capable of, and also meeting challenges on your mat. And then when you make it through those challenges on your mat, it makes life easier. So I think it's a really great life practice, and it helps people through their life. So what I want to do is expand it. I don't want to have just me teaching it. I'm a registered trademark in Canada now, and I am going to be doing a teacher training. And so eventually I want Jock Yoga as a regular program in a lot of gyms, in a lot of studios, with teachers, hopefully eventually all over Canada, all over North America. And yeah, and just hopefully to inspire people to become better versions of themselves.
Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of benefits to Jock Yoga, because I know it's great for weight loss as well.
I agree. I think
So you burn a lot of calories.
You burn a lot of calories. The more lean muscle mass you have on your body, the higher your metabolic rate is at rest, right? So if you're toning your muscles, which we do a lot of in a Jock Yoga class, your metabolism is gonna shoot up. So if you're eating well in combination with a regular Jock Yoga practice and whatever else it is that you do, you are going to maintain or decrease your weight and increase lean muscle mass. And so it's a lot of isometric contractions rather than concentric contractions would be like lifting a weight and flexing the bicep, right? Isometric would be just holding things straight or in a shape, but tensing the muscles up, right? And that's really good for toning, the long, lean, toned look. It's not just about toning and just about what the body looks like, though. It's also a yoga practice, and just like I said, it's really challenging. So, I mean, it teaches us, any yoga practice teaches us to start to listen to our bodies, to be honest with ourselves, to do what we're capable of, to stay away from what's going to hurt us. So we become more and more honest with ourselves. So I think somebody that comes to a Jock Yoga class, that takes on the challenge, as long as there's no back pain, takes on the challenge of what's being presented to them in the class, and pushes through and comes out the other side. There's a sense of accomplishment, but it also makes, as I said, other challenges in life easier to push through, to make it through, right? You can remember how difficult it was when you were dying on your mat, but you made it through. And so when something's really challenging in life, so I think not only is it strengthening for the body, it's strengthening for the spirit, for your resolve, for your determination, perseverance, and moving forward in life.
Yeah, I noticed it was such a great challenge.
I think so.
It's like a shock for your body, and it's like a full body workout.
It is. And that's kind of the way that I set it up as well. We warm up, And with the sun salutations, it's warming up the body, but it's also an intense upper body workout. And then I throw in some upper body strengthening poses.
Some ab work as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I start you generally with the upper body and the warm-up sequence. Follow it with some more upper body exercises to exhaust the upper body.
So where are you teaching right now? Like, where could somebody take and try your classes?
I'm actually kind of teaching all over the GTA right now. So you go to jockyoga.com to find my schedule. And currently I'm at a few gyms regularly, at a few studios regularly. I do teach private classes as well, corporate classes. I have something in the works with Trish Stratus right now of Stratosphere Yoga. Nothing concrete, so you have to stay tuned and check back with jockyoga.com. So there may be some more Jock Yoga coming up to the North Toronto area as well. And I am working on my first teacher training to certify others to be Jock Yoga teachers. Yeah, so that's coming up. Everything will be on the website. You can also find me on Facebook. It's Jock Yoga on Facebook page, like me on Facebook. And you can follow me on Twitter as well. I'm at Jock Yoga Guy on Twitter as well. And so all of my updates will be posted through social media and or on my website. So.
If you can show us some poses, that would be great. Some intense poses.
Okay,
you can do.
I'll show you something anyhow. I'm not that warmed up, so hopefully it looks okay. So when it comes to Jock Yoga, I don't like to do a lot of Sanskrit or talk a lot of Sanskrit because I think chanting and or talking in Sanskrit could put off a lot of people. So I want to keep it in really general terms. That being said, the pose that I'm going to show you right now, it's called Ashtavakrasana. I believe it's 8-angle pose. I like to just call it crazy arm balance. So I'm just going to show you how we start. So we just put the leg over top of the arm and just open and close the hip a little bit, just until I'm ready to throw my leg over my shoulder as high as I can, and then pull my hand back and squeeze the calf against the upper arm, bring my right hand down and push into my hands to lift my bum up, and then lift the front foot up. Next thing I'll do is hook my ankles, and I'm going to move to chaturanga with my arms as the legs come out to the side. So it's a lot of work in my obliques to get here, and there's some upper body strength as well. And then push into the hands to come back up, and then we're done. And then I'm just going to show you a little transition from this pose, from the beginning of this pose, to another arm balance, and then to a third arm balance before going through a vinyasa. So I'm going to start the same way, but instead of going into the full expression of the pose that I just showed you, I'm going to transition back. You'll see what I mean. So when arm balancing, there is a couple of rules of thumb. First of all, you think about it as a teeter-totter. There's a fulcrum, and then there's like a board on top. You have to lengthen one side down, weight one side down so the other side will lift up. In the case of arm balancing, the fulcrum is the elbow staying stacked above the wrist, lengthening the upper body forward so the lower body will lift up. I'll show you what I mean. It's also important to keep your focus on one spot ahead of you that's not going to move, so you don't start thinking about other things and then lose your balance. So the pose I'm going to show you is going to require a lot of side core muscles and upper body strength, as well as my focus and balance. So I'm just going to twist to my right side, hooking my left upper arm to the outside of my right thigh, And I'm going to bring my hands down to the right shoulder width and walk my toes around. I'm just going to bend my elbows and fixate my gaze on that spot that's not going to move. And then my feet will lift up. And then I can use my side core muscles to straighten my legs toward you. I'll give you a little smile. And then my transition from here will be right to chaturanga. And then we'll take a vinyasa. Inhale to upward dog. And exhale up and back to downward dog.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It was
welcome.
a pleasure speaking with you today. Yes. So be sure to visit jockyoga.com for more information.
Thank you very much, Lexi.
Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe on YouTube and follow me on Facebook and Twitter. You can also visit my website, LexiYoga.com, for more information on the healing powers of yoga and much more.